Can you hear me?
Yes, Ken.
Sweet. How's it going, Josh?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well. I don't know if Dave told you, but Matt's feeling a little under the weather today, so I'm going to take the interview for him if that's all right.
Oh, no worries at all. Thank you very much for stepping in his place and being able to do this interview.
Yeah, of course, dude. Happy to do
Oh,
it.
well, awesome. Well, it's great to be able to talk to you and see all these great things that are happening right now. And of course, being able to show off what this band is all about right now. I mean, it's so great, like looking back from where you guys started and seeing where you are now and just seeing this triple disc release of all this and just seeing like this new chapter of where you guys are at.
Yeah, man, it's been a long couple of years here, obviously, and we've made some big changes. Obviously, the name change, but I think we've been able to develop a little bit more of a heavy sound, and we're so stoked to finally have Vaticinate out for everybody to check out, and hopefully y'all enjoy it.
Yeah, and I very much am, and I love being able to see all the different sides of the band too. I mean, the fact that you can do everything from writing great heavy songs to great more mainstream songs to being able to do a fantastic cover as you guys did. I mean, it's just seeing all these different sides between all 16 songs is just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, we worked a while on the record, and originally we were intending on it to be three different EPs that all kind of had their own sound, that kind of made up, one larger record. But because we couldn't release it like that, obviously with everything shut down at the time, just piling all into one CD and still making a deluxe version where it's broken down into what we envisioned as the three separate EPs, just kind of, I don't know, it adds a little bit of like a movement between the three chapters. So it was fun to kind of explore and purposely write heavier for one chapter versus a little bit more, I don't want to say lighter, but a little bit more, I guess, rock oriented for like the third chapter. And then, yeah, doing the cover of Mad World, I thought was a good choice, just to give fans something easy to connect to right away. Like if they don't know where to start with us, most people I think know that song, so kind of gives a good representation of what we're trying to be as a band.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see it happening this way too. I mean, obviously, with everything that's shut down and all of our worlds getting lost in the shuffle for so many different reasons. I mean, I'm glad to see that coming out on Friday that you are able to show it off in this light because it's just like obviously during the dark times, it's just like it's so easy to be forgotten or misplaced, or it's just like when you're trying to reinvent yourself, it's just like when the rest of the world is in dismay, it's kind of hard to be able to show yourself off. But now being able to release this here in this way and being able to show it off again is such a great thing.
Yeah, it was awesome to be able to get it out, and this last Saturday, we had our first show as a band as Antisaint, on the 1 year anniversary of the record coming out. So it was nice to finally be able to get out and play again, and see that I guess the wait was kind of worth it to get back into it, because I know for myself I definitely buckled down during the pandemic, and I have no doubt that I've not been as good of a guitarist as I am today than a couple of years ago for sure. So a lot of practice went into it, a lot of rehearsal to make the set really heavy, and glad to see that it was well received on Saturday.
Yeah, now I was going to ask about that too. I mean, that had to be such a great feeling. I mean, obviously with reinventing the band and being able to work on new music, being able to show off this new different lights of what this group of musicians is all about. I mean, that had to be such a great feeling to be able to get back on stage and be able to show off this great music and finally being able to hear these songs in that live setting.
Yeah, I mean, anytime like that I've been able to play live, it's always a special feeling. Saturday though I don't even have words to describe it. Like, we hadn't played a show in about 3 years, and for it to be, the first show as Anti-Saint, and we had a great crowd in Cheyenne opening up Puddle of Mud in this beautiful theater called the Lincoln. Like, it was everything I wanted and more, and words can't describe it. Like during the set playing, like the songs felt slow just because I was so amped up and excited. Like, it was one of those things. So yeah, just so happy to be able to get back into it, and hopefully we have some more shows coming up soon.
And that's so funny to think about too. I mean, especially when you are in that moment, and that happens for all of us when like time feels like it's slowing down and you're able to just appreciate those moments just a little bit more. But it's funny to me too because it's like there's some nice speedy heavy songs that you guys are showing off as well too, and the fact that they could feel a little bit slowed down it's a cool feeling, but it's also a funny feeling at the same time.
It's extremely weird because it's so slow and yet like the set goes by in an instant. It's the weirdest thing. But honestly though, with it feeling a little slow, it kind of like a little Matrix thing. I feel like oh, maybe I can play it a little bit better because it seems so slow. So maybe I'm a little bit more precise than I normally would think. But it's a wild feeling.
Oh, I can only imagine. And thinking about that as well too. I mean, obviously you want to be able to show off what this band is all about. I mean, reinventing yourself, being able to show off these new songs. I mean, when you have all of that in mind, I mean, what was it like to be able to put the set list together, especially for this first show?
We had a 45-minute set, and I was really excited about that because that let us play kind of everything that we wanted. And I haven't been more excited for a set in my life. And so Matt and I kind of hashed out a couple versions of it and rehearsed it, and finally landed on one that felt like the whole set kind of flowed really well. It had its big bombastic start, and then we kind of cooled off a little bit, and then bring it up to another climax. And just as far as the set goes, it felt really good for a first one, and I can't wait to keep tweaking it here and there, and seeing how it goes down the line.
Oh, that makes me so happy too because you guys work so well together. I remember getting to see you guys all the way back when you were opening for Seven Dust, and just being able to see you hit that crowd in Minnesota, back with the original name and everything. But now with being able to have this reinvigorated feeling with the band post pandemic, not being able to play shows, and just being able to see what that crowd reception is going to be like to hearing all this new material. Of course, being out for roughly a year, the fact that you are able to show off those songs and see what that crowd reception, yeah, I mean, that's got to be such a great feeling. And knowing that it went so well, that's got to be a great feeling going forward.
Yeah, it was great. Honestly, I've felt good about shows in the past, but that one definitely was like just a different feeling. It was the confidence that I got at the end of that show, and just from hanging out with everybody afterwards at the merch booth, and getting to know people, and hearing their perception of us. Like, it felt like a lot of the sacrifice and the practice and the rough times of the pandemic where we were kind of contemplating what are we doing right now, like it was worth it. And as confident, like like you said, you saw us opening up Seven Dust a while back, and that was a great tour for us. I felt awesome on that, but this last show is just night and day from even that. So I'm really excited to hopefully be able to bring this out on the road here very soon.
Yeah, and I'm hoping things continue to keep going in that way too, because I mean, from everything that I've seen online, Dave sent me a nice little video being able to showcase what the show was like. I mean, just like getting to check that out, and it's just like it looked like you guys were having such a great time on stage, and again, like when we go through something so as unprecedented as we have, and not knowing if we'll ever get live music again, whether you're on stage or in the crowd, it's just like so many things can be taken away from us. And the fact that you not only were able to be able to work on your craft, become better at guitar, become stronger as a band, and put together the best that you possibly can be, it's just like the more you get to do that, and again, that rejuvenated feeling of being able to go under Antisaint and being able to like show off what the band is really capable of now. I just imagine, like for the rest of the year, 2023, and when the next release is going to come out, because I imagine that you guys have been working on some new material since, that this album that we're talking about here is just about a year old now.
Yeah, I've got plenty of songs in the pipeline that are. We're gonna hold off on recording for a little bit just because I want to see, with things opening back up now, if we have opportunity to go out on the road. I really want to push Vaticinate because it's still very fresh in a lot of ways. Like, even though it's a little bit of older than a year, it hasn't made like the public debut that I really wanted to, and that comes from just being able to tour and get in front of people and play a good set and then hopefully get them into it, through that way. So, but yeah, we do have plenty of songs just sitting here waiting to get recorded.
Oh, that's got me excited. And of course, just like you said too, it's like I mean, this is getting the proper promotion once again, coming out on Friday again for a re-release, and hopefully more people are able to check it out and realize what's going on with the band now. And I mean, I gotta hope that's gotta lead to touring opportunities, whether it's more headlining shows, being able to do support acts, whatever the case is, and just being able to show what Antisaint is all about.
Yeah, no, we should be hopefully going out on tour at the end of the year. I don't want to give any firm details yet because nothing has been like totally confirmed, but there's a very strong possibility that that's happening. And yeah, I think us for the time being, we're going to be a good support band. I don't know that we're quite ready to headline yet. Maybe in Cheyenne after that last show, but we just got to take the time again. It's kind of like starting from scratch, honestly, like with the new name and just getting people familiar with it and the record and going from there.
Oh, definitely. And there has been a lot of change. I mean, not just the name, but it's just like it feels like the aesthetic has changed. Obviously with merchandise, album artwork, and the tones that's going on throughout the band as well too. Like when you were making these changes, like did you already have in mind like what you wanted to change as you were going forward? Like did you know musically or aesthetically what direction you wanted to go in, or did that take a while?
Musically, we kind of knew. We wrote the record before the pandemic and before the name change occurred. We decided during the pandemic, because everything was shut down, that was a good opportunity to kind of rebrand because there wasn't much going on. So it kind of gave us a window there. But as far as like the aesthetic with the artwork, that we took a little bit of time to work on, just because felt like a new opportunity. We wanted to do it right and not kind of rush into things. So we took a little bit more time with designing and getting in touch with artists that we really liked. And Matthew worked really hard on a lot of the artwork that's in the booklet of the CD and making posters and stuff. So there's definitely been a better focus on the aesthetic of things this time around from us.
Yeah, and I can really see that attention to detail in everything that's going on with the band. And of course, you alluded to earlier, like during the time of the pandemic, that you've been able to work on your playing in the guitar, and you can definitely hear it throughout the songs. But I'm also curious, like, is there like anything in particular like you worked on guitar to be able to better yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Learning honestly scales and leads and becoming more confident with writing solos, things like that. Like I felt like that was always kind of my weakest point as a guitarist, and in a lot of ways I still think it is, but it's definitely improved a lot, and I'm feeling much more confident. And, like at the show, for instance, there'd be times like going into a solo, I'd be like, oh, am I gonna hit this one? And it'd be, it's all right or whatever. But like Saturday was sheer confidence going in, and that helped out a lot. So things like that, and then more subtle things with just being tighter with rhythms and just kind of technique and stuff like that. But and also just I guess tone forging. I got one of those fractal Axe Effects 3s, and just going through and being meticulous with kind of what amps am I going to use with it and the effects and just learning that whole system. So definitely a lot of work over the pandemic to up my game a little bit, but it's still it's a never ending grind to get better.
Oh, it truly is, and I'm glad to see that you were like able to switch your gear up as well too, because that can lead so much for inspiration. And when you got something like Fractal, where pretty much like any tone that you could possibly think of is at your disposal, I mean, you can really dial in and really look for everything that you're looking for, whether it's the cleans or the distortion or anything else that you're looking for.
Oh yeah, dude, I love the Fractal. Like I was playing Marshall JVMs for a while, and they're fantastic, and I love them. But I was also thinking, I was like, when we get back out and doing this, like I don't really want to take out that much gear anymore, and I don't want to have all this heavy equipment. So like the Fractal's perfect. It sounds so good, and like you said, it's got like every amp and every effect that you could ever think of, and they've got the Axe Exchange where you can download other people's patches and tweak stuff and come up with all these creative tones. So it's been awesome and truly inspirational to work with, because you sometimes find a tone and you're like, oh, I know exactly what I want to write with this.
Oh yeah, it's such a great feeling. And yeah, and also like you mentioned as well too, it's just like it's so much less gear you have to worry about too. I mean, physically having to put everything together, and so many less things you have to take inventory of. I know that so much as like a drummer. It's just like when I first started off, it's like, oh yeah, I want to take my full double bass kit on these shows, and then later on you realize, okay, I can probably do all this with a 4-piece and a couple cymbals, and that would save my back for the night. So I totally understand that.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, we're basically running. We don't have a single live cab on stage because the fractal's direct. The bass, we've got a dark glass direct out. So it's just drums and vocals are the only stage noise, and everybody's on in-ears. So it's really quiet, and it makes it really easy for setup and tear down, and makes it easy for mixing out front. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with things. Is I just want it to be as easy as possible in terms of logistics of, especially as a support band, you want to get off the stage and with enough time so that you're not butting into anybody else's set, and then just with the setup and tear down, making it just as easy as possible, but still where it sounds amazing out front for people.
Oh yeah, and that's the great thing with the technology like the fractal amps, the fact that you're able to, just be able to have that great clear sound. You're able to hear it at lower volumes. You're able to hear each other so well through the in-ear monitors, the mixing of the live shows. And I imagine during rehearsals as well too, the fact that you don't have to have everything as loud as what you would when you have your Marshall amps has got to be a great feeling as well.
Oh yeah, I can practice at midnight and nobody's gonna know because it's got headphones out on the front of it, or if I've got the in-ear thing set up, like it's just guitar string noise that's being heard, and that's so quiet. So
oh, that's so cool. So thinking about that as well too, I mean, obviously, like we were just talking about, like all the inspiration that can come from something like new gear, and especially with something like a fractal amp. I mean, was there like any particular examples of like any songs or any riffs that you were inspired by just messing around with the fractal amp?
Not on this record, because this was all recorded before pandemic, before I got the fractal. That was just when I was just rocking the Marshalls, and I still like to the main patch on my fractal is very much based off of my tube setup. But in terms of like songs that I've been working on right now, there's definitely 2 or 3 that are very tone specific, like very inspired from hearing it, and can't really write anything or wouldn't apply it to songs that I have right now because it's just kind of a little out there in terms of the tone and the effects.
Oh yeah, that totally makes sense. But just hearing that you are inspired by that, and so much to look forward to for the next release when that eventually comes is so cool. But the fact that you are able to have everything dialed in for the live shows, and yeah, just having such a clean setup, especially when you're doing support slots, is such a great thing. And I'm so happy to see that's working out for you too, because I know there's a lot of pluses and minuses that can go along with it, but I mean, everything that I've ever heard from a fractal amp, like any band that I've ever been a part of that's been able to use those amps, or any shows I've ever been able to see, it's just like, it seems like the positives just keep coming out with like every time they release something new, and it just makes for a great show. And you don't even like notice that the cabs aren't even on stage because the music just sounds so good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's super low profile and just super convenient. And I honestly, dude, I can't even really tell the difference. Maybe a little bit if I'm like being under the microscope with it, but the tone's great. And for stage, it gives us the opportunity. We have a couple of 6 foot by 6 foot scrims that we made up so that we can at least fill the stage with something. And you could. People could imagine, oh, maybe the amp is back behind the scrim or something, when in reality it's not. But it at least gives something on the stage visually. But also like that show, if it's any indication of how shows are gonna go forward, like, man, we went real hard, and that was probably 3 years worth of pent up rage and wanting to perform coming out in one night. But it felt really good, so it's hopefully going to continue to be that way.
Oh, it's so great to hear that too. And, again, just like thinking about all of that too, just the fact that you can even work together and be able to rehearse together, let alone being able to play shows again, is just such a great feeling. And when you are able to take like those 3 years of all this tension, you just want to be able to let out because you put so much time and effort into everything, and you want to be able to play those live shows. It's so great to see that the crowd was just so roaring for the show that, just the equipment was working great, just like the tones that were coming out and for those live shows. And I just imagine, it's just like, obviously still setting everything up for the end of the year, stuff that'll be announced when the time comes. But I'm glad to see that all of that is setting up, because these songs deserve that live promotion. And I'm glad to see that they will be getting it.
Yeah, that, like I said, we're super proud of this record, and we really want to give it a fair shot with, winning people over at shows and building new fans, and just kind of letting it have its life. And it's really encouraging to see that shows are coming back and that tours are happening. And, while there might be a couple hiccups here and there, without it seeming to be, going in the right direction now. So it's really encouraging to see that.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact, it's just like everything that's going on with the band right now and with this album, it opens the doors for so many opportunities for bands that you're able to go on tour with. Because if you need something that's a little more rock, you have the songs for that. If you need something that's a little more metal, you got the songs for that as well too. And when you're doing those opening sets, it's so perfect because you can interchange those and be able to go a little bit heavy, go a little more rock. You're able to hit all these great best of the both worlds moments.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we've set ourselves up for some success, and that, we can kind of slot in with, a wide range of bands, and feel like, we belong in the package or on the bill, and not like kind of as an outlier band. And it's cool. I think that the next record is going to focus in a little bit more on a particular kind of style. But, for the time being, just to get the name out and build up the fan base, it helps to definitely have a little wider range, I guess, of feel of the songs.
Oh yeah, and it also helps, just like with the crowd reception, being able to hear how the songs sound live, how you're feeling about the songs after all this time, because that can help shape the direction that you want to go to in the future with the crowd reception, the way that you feel about it, making sure the songs are going to sound the best they possibly can in the live setting. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but as long as you're enjoying the music, that's the most important part.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And Saturday reignited a fire that, it was tough. This pandemic was definitely tough. Like there were definitely times where, we were questioning, we want to do this, when things come back, and Saturday was a big affirmation of, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. And if anything, maybe a little eye-opening of like, hey, maybe we didn't, now I don't want to say take it as seriously, but there's definitely a new fire that's been ignited, and it's exciting. It's extremely exciting.
And I can hear it in your voice too, the fact that you are so excited. And that's got me excited too, because I mean, I can hear that you love what's going on with this band. You love the music that you're playing, the riffs that you're writing for the next material. And of course, setting up everything that's going to be going on as far as touring as well too. And of course, your brother with the aesthetics and being able to put all of that together too. There's so many things that go into being in a band, and especially, like pre-pandemic, it's just like you might have like one way of looking at being in a band, but when it's just like when things can be taken away from us, even for a short period of time, we can reevaluate things, see what our priorities are just in life, let alone everything else. And the fact that you guys were able to come back, realize that you needed to go in this kind of direction, and it can spark a new fire in you. It's got me as excited as a fan to see what's going to be coming up next and where you guys are going to be going in the future.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Like it's crazy sometimes what a little bit of a break will do. And I'm really happy that it worked out the way that it did in this case. It sucks that everything got shut down, but I want to believe that there's going to be some good that comes out of it, for ourselves and for a lot of the world kind of reevaluating and hopefully going in a better direction with some things.
Yeah, I definitely hope so. And going along with that as well too. I mean, the fact that things seem to be going in a great direction for you guys, and on Friday being able to see this album getting that re-release it deserves, and being able to reach that new crowd that might have missed out last year, and just being able to appreciate the music now. I'm so happy to see that this is happening, and I'm able to promote the music this time around. Being able to talk to you once again. It's been a few years, but I'm so happy that we were able to catch up again, and I'm so excited to see everything that's coming up in the future. And I thank you so very much for taking all this time to be able to talk to me about all of it.
Yeah, it was great, Josh. It was great to catch up with you again, and I really appreciate the interview and you helping us promote the record and giving us some love, man. It means the world.
Oh, absolutely. Before we're done here, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
No, just I just want to thank anybody that's been sticking with us this whole time, and the people from day one, and it always means a lot when fans stick around, especially during a tough time or a transitional time in our case, and it's always encouraging to know that there's people that are in your corner. So I appreciate all of y'all that have been sticking with us, and you again, Josh, for all the love today and the great interview.